This is Brother Ron, and welcome to We All Be News Radio and TV, the news-free Dixie for the 21st century.
Actually, speaking of Russians and whatnot, I just got to get your take on this stuff that's going on with the Russian stuff in media, like how people pushing back against Russia, how they saying they fixed the election, they got some other stuff going on.
Excuse me. Did the Russians have anything to do with your vote?
No.
It didn't have anything to do with mine.
Right.
I haven't talked to anybody who says the Russians influenced my vote.
Mm-hmm.
The Democratic Party was just so bound up on getting a woman that they got a season there that nobody liked.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't forget her campaigning in 1966 to keep the dormitories at the University of Illinois in Chicago segregated.
That's Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
Wow.
And trying to keep the suburbs in Chicago segregated. Her and her mommy and daddy, who used to talk politics around the dinner table. She also made national attention when, as a high school student, she was out campaigning for that racist Barry Goldwater who pulled a race card out of the hat. And in 1968, she was helping out St. Ron the Reagan in California, a Republican. And in 1968, she was campaigning for Richard Tricky Dick Nixon. She was chairperson of the Young Republicans at Wesley All-Girls School.
Mm-hmm.
And they circulated this, but nobody paid much attention to it. But back in the 60s, when we didn't like her, there was a picture that they found circulating of she just got into Yale Law School. I could have gone myself, but I didn't. I wasn't going where they had 5 feet of snow on the ground in the winter. I went back to UCLA. But bottom line is we had a picture we circulated. I didn't know who the dude was. The picture actually was about her because she was the one that had been political. But Bill Clinton was in there as a skinny, curly-haired somebody with no shirt on, bib overalls and a straw hat, chewing on a straw with a red kerchief, playing a redneck. And Hillary Clinton had blackface on, dressed up like a negress for a Halloween party.
I know that picture today.
I haven't forgotten about all that stuff.
Right.
But I don't think the Russians had anything to do with me knowing it. And you can hack voting machines, but you can't hack them from online. You got to be up front and up close and personal to them. Now, they had a Russian agent in precincts. In Shelby County, the Justice Department provided money to replace the machines here 10 years ago. All it takes is a simple resolution of the county commission, of which the majority are Democrats, of which the Democrats have a majority of black ones. They have term limits, but for the last 10 years, every time it's come up, there have been at least 3 blacks voting against replacing it. But it's so bad here that California put out a brochure online on how to hack them to try and get everybody else to get rid of the machines. Florida had them, threw them in the ocean. California threw theirs in the ocean. Ohio threw them in the ocean after having a debacle with them, and Florida threw theirs in the ocean. So Shelby County and Haywood County are the only ones in the United States that still use them. There's no security, and all you need is a cell phone to hack them. The way you do it is they give you instructions on how to type in a text to a third person using the candidate numbers and a few other things, and dictating the percentage by which you wish your candidate to win. And you leave your cell phone in your pocket, and when you get within 5 feet or so of the voting machine, before you put your card in, just press the send button, and that text send is picked up by the reader of that particular machine, which corrupts it immediately, and then every other machine in the precinct is corrupted within 10 minutes, and every other one in the system is corrupted in 45 minutes to an hour. So they've been hacking the elections for 20 years. We haven't had a fair election here in Shelby County in 20 years. But the Russians didn't have anything to do with that. That's a bunch of hype. You know, the press does what they want to do. Americans have gotten so off into the magnificent art of deception. What did Joseph Goebbels say? Tell a lie long enough, loud enough, you can get anybody to believe it. A lie told one time is a lie told 1,000 times. It becomes the truth. And see, I wouldn't trust the FBI 2 inches. They have never been our friends. Since they came into existence, they've had a corrupt purpose. They were formed to try for the specific purpose of trying to bust Jack Johnson, the first black world heavyweight champion, because he was married to a white woman, and they thought it offensive for him to take her across state lines. So he and his lawful wife were on a train that went through a corner of Georgia. It took 15 minutes. FBI arrested them when they got off the train for a break at the next stop outside the state, because Georgia then did not acknowledge interracial marriage, and they prosecuted them for transporting a woman across state lines for immoral purposes, and they sent him to the penitentiary. Damn shame. That's what the FBI got started in doing. J. Edgar Hoover looked like he was black, and he hated the Klan because they burnt crosses in his parents' yard. Why did they burn crosses? Because they accused his parents of passing for black. For white, rather. So they spied on us. They infiltrated our stuff. They ruined a lot of things we were trying to do in the 60s. They supplied the weapon that killed Martin Luther King. Ray didn't kill King. That ain't even close. I was the last judge on the case. I looked at the evidence, and the rifle that was used was an XM-21 that the military had 72 examples of. The FBI got 5 and a big supply of ammunition as per an invoice I've seen issued late December 1967. At the end of April, after King had been shot April 4th, the military demanded the return to the rifle. The FBI inventoried its system, and they claimed they could only find 4 of the 5. Missing 5th one was what they killed King with. Had some very peculiar ballistics that match what they pulled out of King's body. Yeah.
Wow.
So when the FBI joins in it, they've been historically organization that has been corrupted by their dedication to the political cause of the moment.
So what do you think of? I mean, you think this era of Donald Trump is about cleaning up house, like exposing people, exposing the wickedness of the deep state?
Well, you know what I think he's really doing? I think he's a power mad egomaniac. And I told you this.
Mm-hmm.
Remember when I said at first, I said he's going to manage to get rid of all of his cabinet appointments.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to leave or he'll get rid of them.
Mm-hmm.
And see, what he's doing is every time they resign, whether they put on a mess or a squawk or not, or it's all a sham, he's drawing that power into his hands.
Mm.
The other thing is what he's doing that's good is destroying this paradigm where if you got an office, you got to be dancing on ice because you're scared of the press.
Right.
He has more people following him on Twitter than CNN gets watching their TV coverage.
Mm-hmm.
So he's got an independent way of getting to the public. I follow him on Twitter. Most of what he said is right on point, solid, and intelligent. There's some things that I don't agree with, but I mean, very little of what they try to sound like is a crazy man doing. Why does he tweet? Well, he's communicating directly with the public without going through those BBT boys on CNN.
Right, the filters and no filter with him. And then also his press secretary, the Huckabee girl, she's interested to me. I mean, she fits his style.
Yeah, and see, the other thing is, too, the other paradigm that I'm glad he's destroying is this one where everybody feels that if they say something and anybody disagrees with it, they got to dash off an apology because they don't want to offend anyone.
Right.
What do they say? If you try to please everyone, you please nobody.
That's true. Mm-hmm.
In other words, if you don't displease anybody, that means you're not taking a stand on anything.
That's true. I mean, he's just so good at the media game. He just know how to play them well. He plays it well. I mean, he really plays it.
The thing here to testing celebrity IQ. Stephen Hawking, the great physicist, passed this week. The guy that was in the wheelchair.
Right.
Well, on what's reported, Trump's IQ is the same as his.
Yeah, people laugh at that, but I think this might be some truth to that, because he's president of the United States and he's doing what he want to do.
But he's doing it interestingly. And by the way, I find it very amusing in a tragic way that the Democrats, as dovish as they usually are trying to be so hawkish about why is he talking to the rocket band in North Korea.
I think that's a brilliant move, actually. I think that's a genius move.
Kim Jong-un. Why not?
Right. Obama didn't talk to him, as far as we know.
Well, you see, Obama's purpose is what usually comes around to being the reality in most of this kind of international politics. You want a boogeyman to make the bad guy, so your people start looking at it as a matter of them, those, and us.
Mm-hmm. And Donald's he's changing that, but like you said, his cabinet is getting cleaned out. I guess the Secretary of Education is about to go too. Behind the second. Yeah.
I know her personally.
Yeah. What's your thoughts about her?
Education. She doesn't have any education background. She did a lot of charities with minorities up in the Aspen area.
Mm-hmm.
She's married to the Mary Kay heir. And, they've even been over to my house for dinner before up there a few times. But, she married into a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
And she has her charities, but the Republican Party, they aren't too into looking for qualifications. They're looking for ideology and don't care. But she'll go. I think Sessions is going to wind up going too.
Yeah, it's not Mary Kay, but it's something like the America. I know you're talking about. It's not Mary Kay, it's another organization.
No, it is Mary Kay. I know her husband. I've met him. He's been in my house eating dinner.